Welcome back to the Coins Numismatic series. If you're a coin collector, history enthusiast, or someone who just loves uncovering hidden treasures in pocket change, then you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into a fascinating journey through the top 10 Monticello Jefferson nickel 5-cent coins. The Jefferson nickel has been a staple of American coinage since 1938, featuring the portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his historic Monticello home on the reverse. In this special episode, we're going coin by coin. Stick with me until the end, because you'll not only learn the fascinating stories behind these coins, but you'll also discover why they're highly sought after in the numismatic community. Let's begin with the first coin on our list. 1948 Monticello Jefferson nickel 5-cent coin. The 1948 Jefferson nickel stands as a symbol of post-war America. Just 3 years after the end of World War II, the nation was experiencing a period of optimism, economic growth, and rebuilding. For coin collectors, the 1948 nickel carries not only historical significance but also distinct features that separate it from other Jefferson nickels of the mid-20th century. Historical context. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. Designed by Felix Schlag, the coin honored the third President of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, and showcased his home, Monticello, on the reverse. By 1948, the U.S. Mint had returned to regular nickel production after the wartime years of 1942 to 1945, when the composition was altered to save nickel metal for the war effort. The 1948 nickel was struck in the standard copper-nickel alloy, symbolizing a return to stability. It was also the first year that saw a minor but significant design change. The lettering on the reverse was modified to sharpen details and improve legibility. This makes 1948 a transitional year and one of interest to collectors. Design features. Obverse. The obverse depicts Jefferson's left-facing bust, designed by Schlag. His facial details in 1948 nickels were slightly sharper than previous issues due to fresh hub adjustments. The inscriptions read, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the year 1948. Reverse. Monticello is shown with its neoclassical dome and columns. The inscriptions include, E pluribus unum, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. The lettering was refined in 1948, and collectors often distinguish pre-1948 reverses from the sharper, post-1948 designs. Mintage. Philadelphia, 89,348,000. Denver, 44,734,000. San Francisco, 11,300,000. With a combined total well over 145 million pieces, the 1948 nickel was not scarce in circulation. However, high-quality, fully struck examples remain difficult to find today. Market value. In circulated condition, a 1948 nickel generally holds modest value, often just a few cents above face. But the real interest lies in high-grade mint state examples. MS-65 coins can sell between $25 to $50. MS-67 full steps examples can command $2,000 or more, as sharp strikes with fully defined steps of Monticello are rare. Errors and varieties. Collectors should watch for full steps designation. Nickels with uninterrupted steps on Monticello are the most desirable. Die cracks or die clashes. Occasional anomalies add premium value. Toning. Attractive rainbow or deep gold toning enhances collector interest. Collector interest. The 1948 Jefferson nickel appeals to collectors because it marks a subtle turning point in design quality. It's also the beginning of the post-war era for Jefferson nickels, making it historically and aesthetically appealing. Completing a Jefferson nickel collection without the 1948 issue would leave a noticeable gap. 1977 Monticello Jefferson nickel 5-cent coin. The 1977 Jefferson nickel represents the modern minting era of the 1970s, a decade marked by political shifts, economic challenges, and advancements in mint technology. While 1977 may not be an obvious, key date, it has its own distinct role within the Jefferson nickel series. Historical context. By the late 1970s, the United States Mint had fully transitioned to modern production standards. Coins were struck in huge numbers to keep up with demand, and nickels were an essential part of commerce. Unlike earlier decades, where shortages or wartime compositions created notable varieties, the 1977 issue reflects consistency and mass production. Still, for collectors, this year's nickels present opportunities to find high-grade gems and error coins that stand out from the sea of ordinary circulation strikes. Design features. Obverse, Jefferson's portrait remained unchanged from Schlage's original design. However, many examples from this year show slightly weaker strikes, particularly around Jefferson's cheek and hairline. Reverse, Monticello is depicted in its classic form. The inscriptions remain the same, but strike sharpness varied significantly between mints, especially Philadelphia and Denver. Mintage. Philadelphia, 585,376,000. Denver, 297,313,000. San Francisco, proofs 3,251,152. With nearly 886 million nickels produced, 1977 is considered a common date in circulation. However, proof strikes from San Francisco stand out for their mirror-like fields and frosted devices. Market value. Circulated examples, typically face value. MS-65, $10 to $20. MS-67 full steps, can range from $600 to $2,000 depending on eye appeal. Proof versions, deep cameo proofs can reach $30 to $50. Errors and varieties. Off-center strikes, sometimes found with dramatic shifts, collectible and valuable. Die clashes, occasional examples show faint impressions of the obverse on the reverse. Full steps designation, the most sought-after variety, as most 1977 nickels lack fully defined Monticello steps. Collector interest. While common in lower grades, the 1977 Jefferson nickel is an exciting hunt for condition rarity. Collectors chasing the full steps registry sets often drive the demand for high-end specimens. Proof coins add a level of sophistication, offering collectors a beautiful example of 1970s mint technology. 1962 Monticello Jefferson nickel 5-cent coin. The 1962 Jefferson nickel sits at an interesting crossroads in numismatic history. The early 1960s marked the last years before a major coin shortage and the transition away from silver in U.S. coinage. While the nickel's composition remained unchanged, production numbers and collector behavior began to shift dramatically during this period. Historical context. 1962 was a period of optimism in the United States, just before the turbulence of the mid-1960s. President John F. Kennedy was in office, and America was entering the space race with confidence. The U.S. Mint, meanwhile, was producing coins in massive quantities to keep up with economic growth and the increasing use of vending machines, payphones, and other coin-operated services. For the Jefferson Nickel series, 1962 was another high mintage year, producing over 500 million coins. Despite the numbers, quality control was often inconsistent, leading to many weakly struck examples. Design features. Obverse. Jefferson's bust continued unchanged, but many coins from this year lack sharp definition. The hair detail and cheekbone are often soft. Reverse. Monticello retains its central placement. The steps are frequently incomplete, making full steps examples exceptionally rare for this date. Mintage. Philadelphia, 97,384,000. Denver, 280,195,720. With nearly 377 million nickels struck, 1962 pieces are plentiful in circulation. However, the challenge lies in finding one with sharp details and attractive surfaces. Market value. Circulated examples, generally only worth face value. MS-65, $15 to $30. MS-66 with full steps, can reach $2,500 to $5,000, as they are extraordinarily difficult to locate. Errors and varieties. Repunched mint marks, RPMs. Some Denver issues display doubled mint marks, popular among error collectors. Die cracks and die chips, common, but desirable when dramatic. Toning. Beautifully toned examples can bring premium prices at auction, collector interest. The 1962 Jefferson nickel is a classic example of a date where rarity comes from quality, not quantity. While hundreds of millions exist, true gem examples with full steps are almost non-existent, making them prized by registry set builders and specialists. 1994, P. Monticello Jefferson Nickel 5-cent coin. The 1994 P. Jefferson Nickel marks a modern issue in the long-running series, representing both advancements in minting technology and new challenges for collectors. Although the coin is common in circulation, subtle factors make this date stand out in the Jefferson Nickel timeline. Historical context. In the early 1990s, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins each year. The nickel was a mainstay of commerce, circulating heavily in vending machines, toll booths, and everyday transactions. Collectors often overlooked coins of this era, viewing them as too modern to have much value. However, the 1990s introduced several issues where condition rarity plays a key role, and the 1994 P is one such coin. This was also the decade when the Philadelphia Mint, historically the nation's first mint, became the workhorse of U.S. coin production. With no silver content and a massive supply, the Jefferson nickel of this year is a study in quantity over rarity, unless you're searching for top-tier grading examples. Design features. Obverse. The obverse carries the familiar left-facing bust of Thomas Jefferson, designed by Felix Schlag. Details in Jefferson's hair and cheekbone are sharper than on many earlier nickels due to improvements in die technology. Reverse. Monticello retains its iconic neoclassical design. However, most 1994 nickels struck at Philadelphia exhibit weak details on the steps, making full steps examples difficult to find. Mintage. Philadelphia, 722,160,000. With over 722 million coins struck, the 1994 P is extremely common in circulation. However, this abundance is deceptive. High-quality mint state examples with full steps are far scarcer. Market value. Circulated condition, face value. MS65, $10 to $15. MS66, $40 to $75. MS67 full steps, can reach $1,000 to $2,500, reflecting how elusive well-struck examples truly are. Errors and varieties. Die clashes. Some coins show ghostly impressions from the opposite die. Off-center strikes. Dramatic errors exist and carry strong premiums. Full steps designation. As with all Jefferson nickels, this is the key to unlocking real value in the 1994 P issue. Collector interest. At first glance, the 1994 P may not seem special, but for collectors, it's a reminder that modern coins can become future rarities. The hunt for high-grade full steps nickels makes this coin surprisingly desirable, especially for registry set competitors. In the long arc of numismatics, today's common issue could easily become tomorrow's standout. 1979 D. Monticello Jefferson nickel 5-cent coin. The 1979 D. Jefferson nickel highlights the Denver Mint's role in producing vast numbers of circulating coins during the late 20th century. Although considered a plentiful issue, this coin offers intriguing challenges for collectors who chase strike quality and error varieties. Historical context. The late 1970s saw rapid inflation and high demand for coinage. The Denver Mint carried much of the production burden, often striking hundreds of millions of coins per year. For nickels, this period wasn't about scarcity, but about finding examples that survived in pristine condition. The 1979 D is one of those coins that most Americans handle daily, yet very few set aside at the time. As a result, circulation-worn examples are abundant, but gem-quality coins with sharp details are elusive. Design features. Obverse. Jefferson's portrait is often weakly struck, particularly around the cheek and jawline. Luster varies significantly across different dies. Reverse. Monticello is the focal point, but most coins lack strong detail. In the steps, a hallmark of Denver production in the 1970s. Mintage. Denver, 325,867,672. Over 325 million coins left the Denver Mint, making this one of the most common Jefferson nickels of the decade. Market value. Circulated examples, face value. MS65, $8 to $15. MS66, $40 to $70. MS67 full steps, can exceed $2,000, though very few exist due to strike weakness. Errors and varieties. Repunched mint marks, RPM. Some Denver issues show doubled mint marks, appealing to variety collectors. Die cracks, minor cracks around Monticello's dome appear on several examples. Striking errors, off-center and clipped planchets are known. Collector interest. The 1979 D. Jefferson nickel serves as a reminder that rarity isn't always about how many coins were made, but how many survived in exceptional quality. For collectors pursuing a full steps registry set, the 1979 D is a formidable challenge. Despite its high mintage, this coin offers significant rewards for those who can secure a pristine example. 1964 Monticello Jefferson nickel 5-cent coin. The 1964 Jefferson nickel is one of the most famous issues in the entire series, not because of its rarity, but because of its astonishing mintage and historical timing. Historical context. 1964 was the year of the U.S. coinage crisis. A nationwide shortage of coins, fueled by rising demand and hoarding behavior, pushed the U.S. Mint to unprecedented production levels. This was also the last year that silver dimes, quarters, and half dollars would be struck for circulation. Although nickels did not contain silver, they were swept up in the crisis. The result was the highest mintage of any Jefferson nickel date, creating billions of coins that flooded commerce. Design features. Obverse, Jefferson's portrait, by now, was showing signs of dye fatigue, with weaker details around the face and hair. Reverse, Monticello remained central, but with many coins displaying blurry or flat steps due to overuse of dyes in the rush to meet demand. Mintage, Philadelphia, 1,024,672,000. Denver, 1,787,297,160. With a staggering over 2.8 billion nickels struck, the 1964 issue set records that stand out in U.S. numismatic history. Market value. Circulated condition, face value. MS-65, $10 to $20. MS-66 full steps, $5,000 to $15,000 due to extreme rarity. Errors and varieties. Repunched mint marks, very popular among collectors. Clashed dies. Coins with strong clash marks are desirable. Full steps rarity, perhaps one of the most difficult FS nickels to locate. Collector interest. The 1964 Jefferson nickel is infamous among collectors because of its sheer numbers. Yet despite billions made, quality examples with full steps are incredibly scarce, elevating its status in competitive collections. The year 1964 represents both the peak of production and the challenge of condition rarity. 1999, P. Monticello Jefferson nickel 5-cent coin. The 1999 P. Jefferson nickel reflects the closing chapter of the 20th century for the series. With modern minting technology in place, collectors might expect sharp strikes, but reality tells a different story. Historical context. As the millennium approached, the U.S. Mint was balancing its role between producing circulating coinage and preparing for commemorative programs. The nickel, though still vital in commerce, was often overlooked by collectors. Despite being a modern coin, the 1999 P has gained recognition among specialists because of its condition challenges. Design features. Obverse, Jefferson's portrait remained consistent, with sharp cheekbones when well struck. Reverse, Monticello appears as always, but steps are often weak, reducing the number of full step survivors. Mintage. Philadelphia, 1,212,100,000. Over 1.2 billion coins struck ensures availability, but condition rarity remains the key. Market value. Circulated, face value. MS-65, $8 to $12. MS-66, $40 to $70. MS-67 full steps, can command $3,000 to $5,000. Errors and varieties. Die deterioration doubling, seen on some examples. Off-center errors. Relatively scarce for this year. Full steps designation, highly prized. Collector interest. Though often dismissed as too modern, the 1999 P nickel is proof that even recent coins can be condition rarities. It's a must for anyone assembling a competitive Jefferson nickel set. 1970 D Monticello Jefferson nickel 5-cent coin. The 1970 D Jefferson nickel stands out as one of the more interesting issues from the early 1970s. While not scarce in sheer numbers, it presents unique challenges for collectors, particularly those chasing full steps examples. Historical context. The early 1970s were a period of change for U.S. coinage. The mint was adjusting to new minting technology while also addressing heavy demand for coins in everyday commerce. Denver played a leading role in this era, striking hundreds of millions of coins annually. For Jefferson Nickels, the 1970 D issue is remembered for its weak strikes and difficulty in finding coins with sharp Monticello details. Design features. Obverse, Jefferson's left-facing bust is often weakly struck at Denver during this period. His cheek and jawline tend to appear flat. Reverse, Monticello appears as expected, but the steps are nearly always weak or incomplete. This makes full steps examples extremely rare. Mintage. Denver, 515,485,380. Over 515 million nickels were struck, making the 1970 D common in circulation. Market value. Circulated examples, face value. MS-65, $10 to $20. MS-66, $75 to $120. MS-66 full steps can exceed $10,000, as such examples are almost never found. Errors and varieties. Repunched mint marks, RPM. Several varieties exist, making the 1970 D attractive to error collectors. Die deterioration doubling. Some show doubling on Monticello lettering. Off-center strikes, scarce but known. Collector interest. The 1970 D nickel is deceptively common. Most examples are low value in circulation, but condition rarities make it a legendary challenge for Jefferson Nickels specialists. Collectors chasing registry sets view this date as one of the toughest in the modern series. 2001 P. Monticello Jefferson Nickel 5-cent coin. The 2001 P. Jefferson nickel represents one of the last issues of the classic Monticello reverse before the Westward Journey nickel series began in 2004. As such, it serves as both a modern circulation coin and a transition piece in U.S. coinage history. Historical context. By 2001, the Philadelphia Mint was producing billions of coins each year. Technology allowed for more precise strikes, yet quality control issues meant that many nickels still lacked strong details on Monticello's steps. Collectors at the time rarely set aside nickels from circulation, which means that today, high-grade survivors with full steps are far less common than the mintage might suggest. Design features. Obverse, Jefferson's portrait remained unchanged, though modern die preparation gave a slightly more polished look. Reverse, Monticello continued to dominate the design. However, most examples show weakness in the step detail. Mintage. Philadelphia, 887,040,000. With nearly 887 million struck, this coin is easy to find in circulation, but condition rarity is the key factor for collectors. Market value. Circulated, face value. MS-65, $6 to $12. MS-66, $30 to $60. MS-67 full steps can fetch $2,500 to $5,000. Errors and varieties. Clashed dies, known on some 2001 P nickels. Off-center strikes, occasionally seen in collectible. Full steps, always the standout rarity for modern nickels. Collector interest. The 2001 P is often overlooked, but as the last years of the Monticello reverse before the redesign, it has growing historical importance. Collectors seeking to complete a 21st century set of Jefferson nickels will find this coin both accessible and rewarding when found in gem condition. 2015 D. Monticello Jefferson Nickel 5-cent coin. The 2015 D. Jefferson nickel is one of the most modern issues in the series and highlights how even brand new coins can become valuable collector pieces under the right circumstances. Historical context. By 2015, the Jefferson nickel design had undergone a major transformation. Beginning in 2006, the Mint introduced a new forward-facing portrait of Jefferson by artist Jamie Franke, replacing Felix Schlag's original 1938 design. The reverse, however, returned to the traditional Monticello view, tying modern nickels back to their historic roots. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of 2015 nickels, ensuring their availability in circulation. Yet as with earlier dates, true condition rarities emerge when looking for top-graded coins with sharp detail. Design features. Obverse, Jefferson faces forward, giving the modern nickel a bold new look. The inscriptions include, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year 2015, along with the Denver Mint mark. Reverse. Monticello remains central, now more detailed thanks to modern die technology. The inscriptions include, E Pluribus Unum, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. Mintage. Denver, 662,880,000. With nearly 663 million nickels struck, the 2015 D is plentiful. But as always, rarity lies in top condition specimens. Market value. Circulated examples, face value. MS-65, $5 to $8. MS-66, $20 to $30. MS-67 full steps, can exceed $750 to $1,500. Errors and varieties. Die chips, some 2015 D examples show minor die chips in Jefferson's hair or Monticello. Striking errors, off-center strikes remain collectible. Full steps, high-end designation coins drive collector interest. Collector interest. The 2015 D nickel is still a very modern issue, but it has already carved a place in numismatic interest. Collectors appreciate it for its updated obverse design and the challenge of locating pristine full steps examples. For younger collectors especially, the 2015 D is a great entry point into the Jefferson Nickels series. And there you have it, the top 10 Monticello Jefferson nickel 5-cent coins. From the post-war 1948 issue to the modern 2015 D, each coin tells a story not only about U.S. mint history but also about the era in which it was struck. What ties all these coins together is the pursuit of rarity within abundance. Billions of Jefferson nickels have passed through American hands since 1938, but the hunt for high-grade, error, or full steps examples turns ordinary pocket change into treasures worth hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Jefferson Nickels, make sure to subscribe to Coin's Numismatic series for more exciting explorations into the history, art, and value of U.S. coinage. And don't forget, the next rare coin might be sitting in your pocket right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.